Hey everybody, what is up? OCD Mikey here for another edition of The Mikey Show. And I am more than anything just stopping in to give you guys a travelogue of what's been going on the last week or whatever since Munich. Jesus, every day there's so much stuff happening. And even with Mark, what we're doing during the day. But, one real distinction to let you guys know is that in order to be in the mindset of making content, you are definitely not in the moment of experience of what you're doing. Your mind is somewhere else because you're thinking of making a content and you're not there enjoying the experience. Sometimes during the day, I know there's things that would be great content, but I don't make it because I'm like, it's going to spoil the moment if I turn it into content, because it's so much more valuable as just a life experience. But I've made some videos and I'll share some with you. Most of them are quite honestly travel related. I haven't thought too much about hi-fi because, whatever, that's just a thing. Life experience is much more important. I'll share a little of my feelings of what it's been like to be here in Venice. It's like decompression chamber. All of a sudden, just like, everybody's chill, man. It's almost like, I guess I could compare it to sort of like Miami in America, where everybody, or San Diego, something where everybody's just totally chill. We're here in Venice, which is just amazing with all the architecture and crazy old buildings and the way they built this place with all these waterways to go everywhere. Of course, we've been eating seafood the whole time. That's what you eat here. I mean, all the seafood comes in out of the ocean locally right here. You go to the fish market, there's a little fish market right where we are, Giudecca. We're across from Venice, where Mark has his place. Venice is really like touristy and super busy and crazy. And I did some videos over there, but over here it's much more chill. And, it's just, I really dig it over here. I've become very, very fond of Giudecca. Man, so a couple things, what sticks out with me? Man, the olive oil, okay? So it's not the coffee, okay? I know the coffee is, the thing that's cool about the coffee is it's everywhere. Espresso is freaking everywhere. You don't need to go find an espresso joint because there's one. If it's not in this place, it's 2 doors down. Look, at home, I get some pretty badass espresso, okay? So in terms of the flavor of it, it's almost like, it's not that much about the flavor. It's just about having it everywhere. What's about the flavor that is just instantly stuck with me and has not let me down since we've been here is the freaking olive oil. The olive oil is high grade at every place I go to, and I just get bread and olive oil and just put the bread in the olive oil and soak it up, and just I could damn near drink this olive oil. It's that good. It's really, really tasty. Holy shit, the pizza was easily one of the best pizzas I've had. There's something about the crust on this pizza that it's crusty and flaky crusty, but not hard crusty. Crusty meaning like it's got a hard exterior, but inside it's fluffy and it's dry. It's not gooey. Okay, like pizza at home we get is got this layer of doughy, pasty goo shit, right? Here, it's cooked through and through. It's fluffy inside, it's crusty on the outside, and it's thin. And it had yellow and red bell pepper, thinly sliced, some pepperoni, and some mozzarella, okay, and tomato sauce. And we ate the whole thing. It was so delicious. You eat every little bit of the crust you want it. There's no leaving the crust on the plate. We ate that and it was delicious. And then we went and met with Mark. Mark has a boat here, okay? So when you are if you have a private boat here, it makes exploration and enjoyment of Venice, like you can easily, it's doubled, tenfold. I mean, it is so much more enjoyable to have a private boat and go where you want, when you want, spend all day on the boat if you want. I mean, we went from here, Venice, we went to, I can't remember the name of the island where we had lunch. second lunch, where we had second lunch. We did, me and Joe did, but Mark had first lunch. We went to second lunch and we had sea bass, which branzino. So in the whole fish, right? And they, oh man, they fillet it up for us, and like they bring you the whole fish, but then they fix it for you and serve it, put it on the dish. And oh, what do we have for an appetizer? Oh, all the appetizers here are these fish appetizers that are, man, I don't even know what this thing is called. It's like langostino or something like that. It looks like a long, I'll show you a picture of it. But that was just like the most delicate shrimp you've ever had. It's almost like shrimp, but way softer and sweeter, and just, wow, never had anything like that. Oh, an octopus with beets, and it was a nice cold salad. And, you know, so we had this wonderful lunch by this garden in this, I mean, it was unbelievable. We took the boat all the way up the channel and then went to this restaurant there that was in this area. Very exclusive and nice and beautiful and so calm and peaceful. Beautiful day today, nice and sunny, probably 75 degrees or something like that. I wore a t-shirt all day, was not too hot, not too cold. We left there and then we went to Burano, which is close by, where they make weave. They do textiles there, okay? And so, and one of their specialties is lace and scarves. You know, they weave, they make textiles. So we went to this store that Mark took us to, which was a beautiful store, Marina. Let's see if I see on here. I can't remember the name. Marina, I'll tell you by the end of this. And got some total Italian clothes. My God, like Italian linen, just chill linen pants, linen shirt. The pants, they hem for me right there, right next to me. The lady was right there, and she just said, "Oh, I'll make it your length. Take me, 10 minutes." And she went, cut the ends off, took them, hemmed them right there while I was sitting watching her. It was great. And this is a high-end place. It's not just like a little, small shop with sweatshop or something like that. Like, this was high level. I mean, we went up the stairs, and there was, they not only did they make clothing, but they made sheets. Oh my God, you should have seen these sheets out of like 500 and, what was it, 700 count Italian cotton. Like, oh, I would have bought some of those, but I can only imagine how much those things cost. Beautiful sheets, nightgowns, all this kind of stuff, towels, everything as you went up, napkins, all sorts of stuff for your house, all the way till we went up to the top of this place and looked out over Burano to see. And in Burano, the houses, you've probably seen it before, the houses are all different, very vibrant colors, beautiful colors there. And that's because back in the day, they didn't have house numbers and addresses. They would just say over, I don't know exactly how, but they would tell you where it was by the color of the house and what canal or whatever it was on, as I understand it. So a phenomenal afternoon there. Then we jumped back on the boat. We went back. We went to Venice, and we went through the Venice canals on Mark's boat. All these killer little back roads, if you will. We stopped and we saw the boat maker that Mark knew. That this guy hand makes these beautiful boats. I'll show you a picture. It's in one of my videos of one of his boats. Incredible. We stopped for gelato. You just pull your boat up to the edge and lash it on, and then you get out. We went up and got gelato. That was phenomenal. I actually got affogato, which was gelato where they pour espresso over it. That was great. And then we went, putted around a little bit more through Grand Canal, came back over here, and then we went for the dinner, Joe and I, and she had, we split it, actually. We split it. We had an grilled octopus appetizer that was out of this world on a bed of, like, it must have been seaweed. Then we had this pasta made with a ragu that is an Italian cow called something with an F. And I can't remember, but it's beef, ground beef. and then we had a dessert. I had this crazy tiramisu, and she had chocolate mousse that came in a cube that was like had a cube of some sort of gel, like a rose jelly in the middle. I mean, this stuff was just so good. So we've been living the high life and just enjoying life. It's really about the experience so far. And, Mark knows about good experiences. He took us to some places. Mark knows how to find the good experience, and really it imbues into his product. So to get to Mark's product a little bit, you have to realize that in 1974, Mark started. I mean, we could say that Mark started high-end audio. What do I mean by that? Well, Marantz had a $350. I'm sorry, Macintosh had a $350 preamp at the time. That was like the best preamp. And Mark came out with the LNP2, low noise preamp number 2. Number 1, there was only like 4. They went right to the 2 to buff it up. And the LNP3 was $4,000 when the closest thing to it was a $350 Macintosh. And people thought he was crazy. But what the idea was that up until then, no one was making medical level quality audio stuff. They were only making whatever, commercial level, not medical grade. Well, they made that preamp he did it with Dick Berwin, Dick Berwin is a guy, an engineer, who was one of the founders for Analog Devices. Analog Devices is very well known. It's still around. They make chips, and he was one of the founders, Dick Berwin. Together they made this thing, and it was the first time. I mean, people thought that it wasn't going to sell. No way. There's no way you can sell it for $4,000. Well, they sold the shit out of it. People really wanted it. And that was the start, as I understand it, that was the start of high-end audio building, okay? Now we've gone so far over the rails and so far into opportunism with this stuff, it's not even funny. And you guys know how I feel about that, and I'll keep telling you more as we go on, so you really understand the farce that's been perpetrated and how this thing turned. I mean, Mark tells the stories of what it used to be like and how it is now. With how the stuff is being sold and all the, and he basically says the same stuff that I tell you guys. He's like, it's old technology, and they're selling the old technology and they keep rehashing it and trying to make it something more, keep charging more and more for it, which is kind of like a, pull the rabbit out of your ass sort of a trick, but somehow it's worked. Anyways, and so that was really, Mark created something. Then he went on to cello, which, cello was considered by many to be the pinnacle of hi-fi. Stuff never really got any more intense than cello, you could say. And the cello audio palette. Just look up audio palette cello, and you'll see an EQ that Mark made, or that Tom Colangelo. I should make sure to say Tom Colangelo, because actually Tom Colangelo was the designer, okay? He was an extremely good designer. And together, Mark and Tom created these things. So I'm sorry that I didn't mention Tom's name earlier. But they did some big shit, and they made this audio palette. And this audio palette was an EQ, and people said, oh no, people are not going to want that thing. They're not going to want an EQ and do all that stuff. And remember, Mark was an analog guy for a very, very long time. He was all about it. Not only was he about analog tape, he made a tape machine back in the day. I think it was called the ML7, which was a highly modified Studer A80 that was a Mark Levinson piece. And Studer, I guess, if I'm going to say correct, Billy Studer. And so And Mark has his remarks of he's a musician, right? I mean, that was his background. We're going to talk to him tomorrow about his musicianship and who he played with. He played with Keith Jarrett. He played with, I mean, he could go Sonny Rollins. He could go on and on with the jazz bands that Mark's a stand-up bass player, and that was his thing. What I'm getting at in telling you the history of that is Mark has a lot of industry first. When Mark has brought on several occasions breakthrough products that people don't understand them when they first come out, and they naysay them because it's before the curve. And later on, people get it, and they go, oh, shit, he really knew because Mark he sees ahead of the rest of the gang. Bottom line is they got a patent, okay, based on the evidence that they showed to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. So it had to be somewhat compelling in order for them to be granted a patent, because you can't get granted a patent if you just put together a bunch of bullshit, right? So whatever it was good enough to convince the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office to issue a patent. And Mark has this patent, so no one else can do this process to digital that makes it closer to analog. Nobody else gives a shit, which is an important thing. The important thing about this, really, more so than all the little details of it, is who the else tried it? No one else has tried it. No one else gives a shit. Nobody else selling you stuff cares. People use the word game changer. No, okay? There's only a few people in this industry that could use the word game changer, and Mark in his history has a couple different times of changing the game, big time. So if anybody's going to do it, I would trust Mark to be the guy that could pull it off, that could do it. He has great connections with great engineers and wonderful people, and so I think he could pull it off. So far, what I've listened to is very good. I can't make a judgment call based on what I hear here. You guys understand that? I mean, I come here, it sounds great, but that doesn't mean much to me until I get it into my house, onto my rig, and I can A/B it with other things. Now I can really get a feel for how it relates to my experience, and then I can share that with you. But to just try and tell you, oh, it's amazing from what I hear here, well, fucking A. I mean, almost anybody, if they're good at hi-fi, can make a rig sound good. We see it when we go to the audio shows. Because it sounds good in one place, in one setup, doesn't mean it can do that again. And so before I even comment on C-Wave and Mark stuff, I have to get it at my house. And I will get it at my house. I think Mark deserves for me to check it out. And I deserve to check it out, to give Mark a shot to really see what he's talking about. Because I hate to say this, but no matter what people say in the audio industry, I don't freaking believe you. I don't give a shit what you tell me. I don't freaking believe you the first time you tell, no matter what you tell me. It doesn't matter if you tell me one time or you tell me 500 times. I don't believe you until I apply it. I listen to it and I experience it. That's what makes me believe something. I do that so that you guys don't have to. And then when you trust me and you know Mikey runs a strong gauntlet, and if Mikey says it's good, then we can trust it's good. That's the reason I do this, is because I'm building up a reputation, and I'm building up a hi-fi tribe so that I can vet products and bring them to you guys, and you can trust me that, hey, Mikey vets things in a very serious, strong way. He doesn't take money from, say, Mark. Like, if Mark wanted to pay me money to say this was good, I wouldn't do it. I don't freaking care. Mark's a friend of mine no matter what, regardless. I would never do that, okay? I wouldn't do it for freaking Magico. I wouldn't do it for Sonus. I wouldn't do it for anybody, okay? And that's what makes me different for you guys out there. That's the only way I'm going to differentiate myself, is I'm the dude that's not for sale. And then I have the ability to suss things out and then bring them to you, and then I make money from selling you the products that I think are the best, not from getting guys to pay me to tell you that their stuff is great, right? So you can choose whichever you want, you know. I mean, the other guys, you'll be able to see a lot more products than you will from me. From me, it's going to be a smaller scope of products because I only tell you about the ones I vet. I don't talk about the one, unless I'm at a show. I typically don't talk about the ones that I don't vet because I just don't like them. Nonetheless, so that's what's been happening here. I've been sitting with Mark and just realizing really, and you can't suss somebody out right away. You need to steep with them. You need to sit with them and spend several days and listen to them and get to know them on other shit that's not hi-fi. If Mark was cheap everywhere we went, if I asked him to send me to a good restaurant, or we went around and we went to shitty restaurants that he told me were good, I would doubt his judgment. That would mean if I doubt his judgment in making audio would probably not be so good. I assess people up in many different ways to determine how they design and how their product line is. It only makes sense. Wouldn't you agree? So with Mark, we've had sublime experiences here, okay? So it's clear to me Mark knows how to make sublime experiences. He knows the good food for sure. He knows the good clothing. As we asked for a scarf today, Mark knew exactly where to take us. This place was the creme de la creme, the best handmade linen stuff. Mark knows good shit, okay? He knows it. And I'm aware of that. We went today, we took his boat, we went digging into the middle of Venice because here's the best gelato place on Venice. Okay, we went to there, he knew it. Bam, incredible gelato. Nothing ever had anything like that. So it's about sussing a person out and then determining, putting that together with them being a designer and who they know. And then I went to the factory. I met Mark's workers. I assessed these guys out. I size them up. I size up the factory. I size up how it's out. And I get a good feeling as to the vibration and the energy surrounding this company and what's going on. Is it a good vibration? Is it made with heart and passion? Is it the fine dining or the fine refined manufacturing, the refined experience or not? I've been in hack job shops. I know what a hack-ass job shop that slaps together audio is like. And I know what refined manufacturing is like. Okay? And so all of these things play a part into what I'm bringing to you guys and gals. And so that's the experience that I've had here so far. More will come when I get the Maria into my place and I'm able to listen to it with my stuff and suss it out compared to AGD, compared to the other pieces that I have that are, maybe some Roland, or what have you. And so I can really give you guys a good angle on what this is about, because everybody else we hear talking about Maria just tells you it's the best thing that they've heard, but they don't give us any context. And then their next video, some other shit is the best they've ever heard. And it's like, how are you guys supposed to find value in that? How do you find value in somebody saying that everything's the best? It's like, but these guys have retarded amounts of views and subscribers, and I'm just like, it kind of blows my mind that it's like, well, I guess a lot of people like McDonald's, don't they? McDonald's is the most successful hamburger seller, and their hamburgers suck and they kill you. But, I guess that's what the people want. So it's a weird thing for me. I guess it's just, I don't know. It's hard to understand. Nonetheless, hopefully you value what I bring to you guys, and more over these years. You're starting to see what I'm about and why I have a forked tongue, why I have resentment of the industry, because I've lived it for 23 years and I pay attention to the little things and I suss vibration out and I analyze people and I analyze how they handle shit and I analyze companies and what they do in the marketplace, and I form a picture of what this whole thing is hi-fi and what's going on in here and who's fucking who and who is loving who and who is smashing who and all that kind of stuff. You get sort of a picture of this whole thing and you can paint a picture, and that's what I bring to you is my view, my perception, right? Take it for what it's worth. Don't believe me, whatever. But so far, being here in Venice has been a great stay. We've been here for, 4 nights, staying at Mark's place. Mark has 2 locations here. We're staying in an apartment here, and it's great, man. It's awesome. You see, anybody can put on a good face for 30 minutes, an hour while you're at the show and for a dinner or whatever. But you stay with somebody for 3 days, now you get to know a little bit more about them. The salesmanship stops after the first or second day, and then you start to know the person, okay? Then I get to know who this person is. Then I get to know, would I trust this person or not? Would I, Mark, holy shit, I'd leave my kid with him if I had a kid. I would trust Mark, like, to the nth degree, okay? And this is what I want. Same with Andreas, Same with Ola Nielsen. Same with Thomas Fisher. These people are good people. I'm going to find out more about them. That's what I'm here doing. So that's my take on C-Wave. That's telling you a little bit more about the history of what it is, a little bit more about Mark's history. We'll talk to him a little bit tomorrow, but hopefully this has helped you get a little more view. And then I've shared the fun things that are happening on the travels and the food, of course, and all the beautiful things that we see, because I like a refined experience, okay? My life, I like to keep my life in the refined experience, because, you can do the same thing. All of us can do this. We create our own reality, okay? So even if you're in when I was living in a freaking RV, that RV was freaking styling, and my experience was badass in there. I had tie-dyes and all sorts of shit hanging and Hendrix posters on the walls. And man, it was cool. We had a hose hooked up to it, so I had running water coming from the garden hose. And I lived in Venice, and I worked at a record store, and I had a Honda CB360 that I kick-started every day and rode to work. And man, my life was refined experience at that point, and I was broke as shit. So the refined experience has nothing to do with the amount of money you have. It has to do with what you make out of your palette. You have a Crayola crayons, or you have the finest oil paints, but you paint a masterpiece regardless, and you make it your own, okay? And so I'm trying to share that with you guys and bring that with you. And hopefully you see past my anger and my fight. This thing that I have is because I don't know. I have fight in me. I don't know what it is. But nonetheless, I won't go into that. It's been too long anyways. That has been my experience so far. I will come back to you from a different part of Italy. We're going back to Germany. We're probably going over to Serbia and potentially, not Slovakia, but Slovenia. Oh my God, does that place look beautiful. So anyways, thanks for joining, and I will see you all soon. Peace, and have a good one. See you.